Okay, so let us start our training for today. The first topic we are discussing is V6 VRF control solutions. My name is Piyush and I belong from India and I have been working in Media headquarters for last 4 years and I was responsible for VRF controllers for last 2.5 years and all the manuals and the documents related to VRF controllers were made by me and I'm responsible for this training management now and maybe some of you would have attended some controller trainings from me before as well. Okay, so let us go on with the topic today. I start my training with a basic question like what is a good control? Uh, not just for air conditioning control solution or any other control solution. If we talk about the term control, what is a good control? I try to give a definition to it. According to me, a good control is something that you require minimum effort and can realize maximum output for you. That is a good control. If you need to work so hard to control something, that is not a good control, according to my understanding. So I give a definition to a good control: minimum effort, maximum functions. You can have your own definition. Apart from these two things, what other things a good control should have? It should be easy, it should be quick, it should be powerful, and it should be centralized. Like if we want to control something, it should be easy that you don't need to read a manual or something to understand it. You should be able to understand it by yourself. Centralized, if you are controlling a big building, what are BMS? Centralized controllers. We don't want to control one thing from some place and another thing from another place. We want it in a centralized way. Powerful. We are talking about CAC products here, so controllers should be powerful. We will be controlling thousands of units together. So that kind of control can only be realized if we have powerful solution. And quick, if you pass the command to a controller, it should be executed immediately. It shouldn't be like I try to turn on the air conditioning today and it takes you 5 minutes or 10 minutes to pass that command to the air conditioner. That is not a good control according to my understanding. I hope that all of you will also agree with this understanding. Okay, so that was just about uh, a good control. Uh, Now for a VRF controller, today we are discussing V6 VRF control solutions. So what are the expectations for VRF control solutions? You can also write your expectations in the chat. I have written some from my experience, from my understanding, what can be the expectations from control solutions as a whole. The control solution should be able to monitor the unit, monitor the indoor unit, and monitor the outdoor unit. It should be able to control the indoor unit, right? These are the basic requirements. Easy to use. Why I emphasize this point in our training, because you will see through the course of my presentation that our new controllers are not quite new now. Actually, V6 have been in market for a long time now. But if you have used it, or you will see from my presentation, our controllers are very easy to use. You don't need to read very deep manuals to understand this thing. There is a lot of visual management has been done in these controllers. Next is large quantity. Again, I mentioned that VRF controllers, we are talking about thousands of indoor units together. So thousands of indoor units, if they want to be controlled together, we need large quantity to be controlled, right? These are the basic expectations for VRF control solutions. Long distance internet control, everyone is talking about these things now. We should be able to control the units through internet. So does my idea VRF has a solution to control the units through internet? We have a solution. I will explain you in the later slides. Visual management, the new touchscreen controllers, the 6.2 controller, 10.1 controller are visually managed. If you look at the icon in these controllers, you can know a lot of information about the indoor unit or the outdoor unit just by looking at the icon. So that's what we call visual management. Scheduling and power saving. So for VRF systems, they are actually going to be used in some big buildings, some big office buildings, real estate buildings. So in this kind of places, it is a must that our controller should be able to provide a schedule, and all our centralized controller or the small controllers, even the wired controllers in the V6 series have the capacity to set a schedule for the indoor units. Power saving. If the controller can provide some function which can result in power saving for the end user, then it will be again beneficial. So do we have any options for power saving in our control solutions? Yes, we have. I will explain you in the specific control solutions. Analysis from recorded data. So if a controller is connected to a system, it should be able to analyze the system very carefully. What is happening inside the system, when the units turn on, when the units turn off, or if there are any parameter changes happening. These kind of things should be able to be, we should be able to get it from the controller. So does Media VRF controllers do this? Yes, we are also quite good in this part. So I will explain in the later slides how we do it. Maintenance and error analysis, diagnosis software. So Media comes up with the diagnosis software so that if any problem happens in the outdoor unit, you can connect the diagnosis software and get the relevant data and understand what problem is going on in the system. Right. So these are, according to me, the expectations from VRF controllers. And does Media VRF control solutions stand on these expectations? We will see in the coming slides. So now I will give a brief overview of our controller lineup, which kind of controllers we have, and then we will also discuss some deep details about these controllers. For the wireless controllers, we have two options, RM05BA and RM12F. What is the difference between these two controllers? Firstly, as you can see from the picture, the shape is different. Secondly, this controller comes up with the follow me function, and this controller does not have the follow me function. Apart from that, there is no difference. Another one difference that this controller have is this controller have some extra icons like this soft wind and wind select. This is basically for our 360-degree new panel 4-way cassette, for which you can selectively change the direction of individual louver. So with that 4-way cassette panel, you need to use the RM12F. For otherwise, there is no difference. Just this one have a follow me function and this one does not have a follow me. So everyone understands what is the follow me function? All of you know what is the follow me function? Okay, I suppose you know what is the follow me function. And let's get to the next part for the wired controllers. So again, for the wired controllers, we have two options, WDC 120G by WKA and WDC 86E by KD. So this is basically a group controller and this is an individual controller. So if you want to use the controller with a single unit, then it is advised to use the WDC 86E by KD controller, and WDC 120G by WKA is actually advanced controller, and it can connect up to 16 indoor units together inside one group. So even though you want to connect it with single unit, it is also okay, but the direction why we make this controller is to provide a group control solution. So all the 16 groups will work in the same fashion. All the units in that group of 16 will work in the same fashion with same temperature, same cooling, same mode or same fan speed. And application, like if you have a big hole and in this big hole there are many four-way cassettes together, and you know that all the air conditioners are going to work together. So in this kind of scenario, or maybe yesterday we had a query from a customer, I forget, in Europe I think. So they were asking us about this group control solution. They have a school, and in the school they have two classrooms, and each classroom have three four-way cassettes each. So they were asking for group control solution. So in that case we suggested the 120G. You can connect all the three indoor units together with 120 with 120G, and can start and turn on and turn off from there. Apart from that, what is the difference between these two controllers? This is the 7-segmented display, and this one comes up with the dot matrix display. So this is more beautiful, and this is more beautiful than this, and obviously more expensive than this. Apart from that, this controller can also set the schedule for the indoor units. So for a wired controller to be able to set the schedule is a very good feature. Okay, so these are the two wired controllers that we have. Next is for the central controllers. So for the central controllers, again we have two options. One is the CCM 180 A by BWSA, and another one is CCM 270 B by WSA. This one we also call as 6.2-inch touchscreen controller, and this one we also call as 10.1-inch touchscreen controller. So what are the differences? First of all, the screen size, as I explained, that this is 6.2-inch touchscreen and this is 10.1-inch touchscreen. Except for this, what are the other differences? This one only have one XYE port. So it has one XYE port. It means that it can connect uh, 8 systems or 64 indoor units. This one have 6 XYE ports. So this one can connect, each port can connect 8 systems and 64 indoor units. So maximum 8 multiplied by 6, 48 systems and 384 indoor units can be controlled by the bigger 10.1-inch touchscreen. Apart from that, what other functions are available in both of these touchscreens? So they can set a schedule for the units. They can make different groups for the units. They can check the fault error code of the outdoor unit and indoor unit. They can also check the detailed parameters of the indoor unit as well as outdoor unit. And they can also control some features for the outdoor unit. For our V6 series VRF controllers, we have a special feature that our controllers can control 4 features of the outdoor unit as well. That is the night silent mode, mode priority, and auto energy saving and power saving mode. So these are the 4 settings which can be controlled from the controllers. So both of these touchscreen controllers can control these settings. Apart from that, this 10.1-inch touchscreen controller can insert a map inside it like a floor plan function. And apart from that, this controller also comes up with the holiday function. That is, when you make a schedule for the whole year, you can set that maybe November 4 is a holiday. So all the schedules will not work on November 4. Or you can set Sunday is a holiday. So all the schedules will not work on Sunday. You don't need to do this setting again and again. Okay. I will explain more in the later slides about these two controllers. And IMMP back A is actually a gateway device for BACnet, but it can also be used with our IMM Pro software, which we will discuss later today. So that's why I have kept it here with the central controllers. These two act as a gateway device for our IMM Pro software. So how does that work? This one has 4 XY port. I will explain in the later slides and the next presentation for IMM Pro as well. So in the beginning of my presentation, I said that we have solution for internet control. So what is that solution for internet control is CCM 15. So what is this CCM 15? First of all, let me clarify that we only have one controller right now which provides internet control. What is internet control? It means I'm sitting here in China and I can turn on or turn off the air conditioner in your training room or in your country. This is internet control. The command is sent to the cloud, and from the cloud the command is set back to the air conditioner, and the command is executed, right? So if we need the cloud to be accessed from both sides, so both sides need internet. Of course your phone will have internet from your SIM card. How to supply internet to the air conditioner? So this gateway device CCM 15, it will be connected through the XY port of your outdoor unit, and through a LAN cable it will be connected to a router, and this router has an internet. So this way it is accessible on the web, and your phone already have the internet, and you need to install the M Control app and then bind these two together, and you can control the air conditioners through your mobile phones. What is the maximum number? 8 systems or 64 indoor units for one this gateway, and the 10 such gateway can combine in one application. So 640 outdoor units, indoor units more or less can be controlled from one mobile phone application. Next is for the softwares. So for the softwares, again we have two options. One is our IMM Pro software, and the second one is the diagnosis software. So IMM Pro we call as IMMPSA, and the diagnosis software is MCACDIAGBA. So what is this IMM Pro software? We will have another presentation for IMM Pro later today, but let me give you a brief overview. So this is basically for big projects. It has the capacity to control up to 3,840 indoor units through one computer. So if you have a big project and you want to control all of them together, so IMM Pro is the solution. Apart from that, what is the other benefit? The energy consumption. So for the VRF outdoor unit and the indoor unit, the main energy consumption is from the outdoor unit side, right? And indoor unit, what is inside the indoor unit? Inside the indoor unit, you have a fan and you have a PCB. So the power consumption by these two devices is much less as compared to the power consumption by the outdoor unit, which has the compressor. But in case of VRF, we only have one outdoor unit. And suppose one outdoor unit is connected to 64 indoor units, and these 64 indoor units are inside 64 flats. So I need to give the bills to these 64 people according to the air conditioner they have used. Maybe one person was not home the whole month and he didn't start his air conditioner. So he don't need to share the bill for that. So for that kind of things, we have this IMM Pro solution or the IMM Pro software. This software captures the refrigerant demand from each indoor unit, and based on that refrigerant demand, it will generate the bills for each particular tenant. So this is the IMM Pro software. And next is MCACDIAGBA is our diagnosis software. So as I mentioned in the beginning, that maintenance and error analysis. So if there is any trouble in your system, then you can connect the diagnosis software through the XY port, and you can check very detailed parameters about the system through this diagnosis software. Later I will show you some videos about what kind of parameters are available inside the diagnosis software. The next part is for the BMS gateways. So for the BMS gateways, again, we are compatible with all major BMS languages, that is the BACnet, Loanworks, Modbus, and KNX. So for these gateways, just the capacities are different. I can tell you what are the capacities. So you can see here there are 4 XY ports, XY 1, 2, 3, 4. So each port can connect 8 systems and 64 indoor units. So this one can connect 256 indoor units, connect to the outdoor unit side. This GW Loan A has only one XY port and it can connect 8 systems and 32 indoor units. Okay, this one can connect 32 indoor units. And again for the Modbus, here have only one XY port. It again connects from the outdoor unit side and it can connect 8 systems and 64 indoor units. And this GWKNX, it connects to the indoor unit side. And each indoor unit needs to connect one KNX gateway. So these are the connection options for the BMS gateways. Mostly what we can say is that we have covered all major BMS protocols: Loanworks, Modbus, KNX, BACnet, all four are covered. These are some of the accessories that we have. The name tells a lot about the accessories. MA is Media Accessories. HKCW is Hotel Keycard Weak, Hotel Keycard Strong, infrared sensor. This is the energy meter. So this energy meter has been phased out now. So now you only have DTS 343. And MCAC PIDU is IDU online kit. And MAEK is extension kit. So what are the function of these? I will explain you later why these functions are available, what kind of functions are available inside this. Okay, so IMMP back A, we call it a two-in-one gateway. So why we call it a two-in-one gateway and what are the advantages? So as I mentioned that this can connect to the BACnet BMS system, but we also have our IMM Pro system. So this acts as a two-in-one gateway for both of these. How does it work? Suppose you have a system, you connect the outdoor unit XY of that system to this BACnet gateway and you can connect it with one computer, and in this computer you install the IMM Pro software also and you install the BACnet BMS software also. Both the softwares will work parallelly. You don't need two gateways for that. So that is why we call it a two-in-one gateway. Why we can have a scenario like this? Because suppose you go to a project site. So in this project site, the whole building is covered with the BACnet BMS. And so the customer asks you to connect your VRF system with the BACnet, existing BACnet BMS system. And also he want to know the specific energy consumption of each indoor unit. So we also need to use the IMM Pro software here. So for this kind of scenario where you need BMS and IMM Pro together, then you can go for the two-in-one IMMP back A controller. So if anyone have any questions, you can ask me in between also. I hope everyone is able to understand today's presentation. If anyone have any kind of questions, you can also stop me in between and ask the questions, okay? This presentation is for you to understand better. Okay, so if before we go in further details to understand each controller one by one, so let us understand what kind of ports we have on the outdoor unit and indoor unit side. So for the outdoor unit, we have the OAE port, XYE port, PQE port and H1, H2E port. So XYE port connects to the central controller or the BMS gateways. OAE port is for connecting the DTS 343, the energy meter. PQE connects to the indoor unit side and H1, H2E is for connecting the outdoor unit in parallel connection. If we come to the indoor unit side, you will see that if you are using the old generation outdoor units from us like V5X or V4 Plus platform, there is quite a much difference between in the ports available on outdoor unit and indoor unit. So for the outdoor unit side, for V4 Plus platform or V5X, we used to have K1, K2E. That one we have deleted now. And the information inside K1, K2E is merged with the XYE itself. So now we only have XYE. And for the indoor unit part, we have deleted the XYE port that was available on the indoor unit side, and now we have X1, X2 and D1, D2 ports. And this ABCDE is basically the display board, and PQE is for connecting to the outdoor unit side. So everyone is clear. I hope you can follow me in the presentation because it's for you guys. We are giving this training. So if you have any questions, you can stop me in between and we can discuss as well. So now I will go into more details about these controllers one by one, and I will show you some videos about these controllers as well, so that you become familiar what kind of functions we have. So before we discuss the wireless controllers in detail, uh, because the functions of the controller depend upon the function of the indoor units. So the V6 series indoor units have some new functions as compared to the previous V4 Plus generations. So what are these functions? These functions I explain first, and the similar functions are available at the controller end. So if indoor unit have the function, then only the controller will have that function, right? Okay, so for the V6 indoor units, what are the new functions? We have 0.5-degree temperature change. We have 7 fan speeds. Before we only used to have 1 degree temperature change, and before we only used to have 3 fan speed, that is high, medium, low. Now we have 7 fan speed. 5 steps louver control. So this one is exhibited here. Before we only have an auto swing or stop the swing, right? But now we have 5 different angles for the louver. Turn off the indoor unit display. You can use the controller to shut down the display, that is the temperature value on the indoor unit side. You can shut it off using the controllers. You can also turn off the buzzer of your indoor unit from our controllers. And the indoor units also have a night silent mode, inbuilt night silent mode for the indoor unit side. Outdoor units have its own night silent mode, and indoor unit have their own night silent mode to reduce the noise from the motor. And then follow me and eco mode are same as before. I hope everyone knows follow me is just a sensor inside the controller, and every 3 minutes this sensor sends the value back to the indoor unit. Okay. Okay, so here is our first controller RM05BA. So what are the buttons available here, you can see, and maybe I can show you a video of how to use this controller to set the address of the indoor unit. And all these videos are available on our YouTube channel. I will also show you our YouTube channel. Okay, so firstly I show you our YouTube channel, so I think you can see these kind of videos by yourself. Mydia HPT is the name of the YouTube channel. Now we will update this name in future. So a lot of videos related to controllers are available here. Right, so right now we are discussing about RM05BA. So here is a video how to set address by RM05BA. So we can try to use this video to see how to set the address for RM05BA. Very simple. We will use this controller to set the address to this indoor unit. Very simple. How does it work? Firstly, we need to enter into the address setting mode of the wireless controller. So for this one, you need to press the lock key with the pointed object for 5 seconds to enter the address setting mode. So we will press for 5 seconds using a pointed object to enter the address setting mode. And then once you are inside the address setting mode, you need to press the power button to set the signal. And if you press the mode button, you can check the address of the indoor unit. The maximum transmission distance is 7 meters for our wireless controllers. So press the power button and then press the mode button, and you will see the address on the indoor unit. So 04 is the address of this indoor unit. Now if I want to change the address of this indoor unit, how to do that? Again, you need to enter the address setting mode and then press the power button. And if you press the up down buttons, then the address written on the controller will change, and you press the fan speed, this address will be sent to the indoor unit. So right now I'm changing this to maybe 43, and once we go to the 43, then we will use the fan speed to send this address to the indoor unit side. So here we go to the 43 and then press the fan speed. So now the address of this indoor unit is 43. And again, to exit the address setting mode, you need to press the lock key again for 5 seconds to exit the address setting mode. Okay, so once you press this button again for 5 seconds, then you will exit the address setting mode, and you can use the controller same as normal to control your indoor unit. Okay, so this was a short video on how to use this controller for the address setting. So we have a lot of videos like this on our YouTube channel. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. So we have a lot of videos like this on our YouTube channel. You can see these videos. Next is our RM12F controller. So this RM12F controller, as I mentioned before, that it have some of the new features for our 360-degree panel. This is soft wind function. So if you press this soft wind, the wind is directed towards the corners of the room. The louvers are set in such a angle, and this louver control the vane select. You can individually control the direction of each louver, right? These two buttons. Apart from that, what is new in this controller? And now we have this setting for the RM05BA as well. So we are planning to cancel the dial switches on the indoor unit side. For our new second generation AC indoor units, we have cancelled the dial switches. The dial switches are not available, like the cold draft prevention setting or the ESP settings or the cooling temperature compensation, heating temperature compensation, or EXV open degree. These kind of settings were available on the PCB of the indoor unit before. So we have deleted those switches. So how to do those settings? So we can do it from our wireless controller as well. So you need to press the C1 to C9 button. You need to press this vane select and silent button together for 8 seconds, and then you will see the C menu coming up. So if you go to like C1, and then inside the C1, then you can set the external static pressure. There will be further options like 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. Inside the manual, you have detailed discussion about the meaning of each option. But what I want to convey here, that the dial switches have been removed from the PCB, and you can use the controller to set these kind of settings as well. And for the address setting through this controller, you need to press this soft wind vane angle and the timer button together for 5 seconds, and then you will again enter the address setting mode as before. I can show this again for you. Here. So this RM12, all the controllers are more or less the similar, just some new function, but basic functions are similar. So here I will show you again the same outdoor unit. So firstly we enter the address setting mode. So we press these three buttons together, the corner three buttons, and then you will enter the address setting mode, and then the other process is same. Once you enter the address setting mode, you need to press the power button, and you can press the power button and then press the mode button to query the address. This is the power button and mode button, and up down buttons to change the address, and fan speed to send the address. So here you press the power button and mode button. You can check the address of the indoor unit, and similarly for the address setting, press the up down button and change a particular value, and then press the fan speed to send the address. Okay, so this part is similar. So for the wireless controllers, this is up to here. I hope that you are able to understand that we have two options only, different design. This one have more features, and this one does not have follow me. This one has follow me, no other difference. Basic functions like the display shut off or timer or swing or wane angle, night silent mode. These are available in both the controllers. Okay, so this was it for the wireless controllers. Next, we will move on to the wired controllers. If anyone has any question for the wireless controller part, you can ask me now. If there are no questions, then we will move on to the wired controller part. So I suppose there are no questions. Okay, here are some questions. What about the eco mode? So what about the eco mode? Can you please tell me what do you mean? What about the eco mode? You mean what is the setting of the eco mode? Are available all the new functions of RM12F remote controller with V6 AC IDUs. Yes, if for the V6 second generation AC IDUs, all functions are available. And okay, so eco mode is basically 26 degrees centigrade in the cooling mode and a low fan speed. The fan speed is auto. And for the heating mode, the again the fan speed is auto in the eco mode, right? So eco mode is 26 degrees centigrade temperature, and fan speed is low fan speed. And for the heating mode, the fan speed is auto, and temperature is the same. Okay, so let us move to the next part. Still have some question. Okay, so let us move to the next part. The next part is for the wired controllers. So for the wired controllers, again for the V6 series, we have some new features. What kind of new features it have? So for the wireless controllers, I explained you some of the features, that 0.5 degree temperature change, 7 fan speed, 5-step lower angle, or display shut off, buzzer sound shut off, or the 5 step 5 and 5 sorry 5 angles of lower swing. These kind of functions are also available with the wired controller as well. Apart from that, one of our wired controllers, the 120G, can set a schedule, and it have a interesting feature called extension function. So what is this extension function? So suppose from 120G you set a schedule that 6 p.m. the indoor units should shut off, but maybe today you need to work overtime and you don't want to work the whole schedule, right? So you just want to that the indoor unit should run maybe tonight only half an hour more, and you don't want it for to change the whole schedule. So it have a setting called uh, extension setting. So you go inside the extension in the schedule function, and then the indoor unit you can select to run more for 30 minutes or 45 minutes or 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So this is the extension function. Next, for the wired controllers, what are the other new functions? So we have two permission levels. What does this two permission level means? It means you can connect two wired controllers with single indoor unit, both for the 86E by KD and 120G. So basically this 86E by KD is for a single indoor unit, and 120G is more a group controller. So if you have a lot of units together, then you go for 120G. So here from the diagram you can see that this 86E by KD, if you want to connect with one indoor unit 2, you can connect it, and for the 120G, because it can connect up to 16 indoor units, so with this one group you can also connect to 120G. One will be master, one will be slave. Some features will not be available in the slave controller. Master will have all the features. So what is the requirement? I mean, suppose there is a room and you can put in one wired controller inside the room and one wired controller outside the room, right? This kind of scenario. Okay, another important function for our new wired controllers is bidirectional communication. What is this bidirectional communication? Before, for MIDIA controllers, the communication was only unidirectional. That is, the controller sends the command and the indoor unit executes it, right? So suppose I give you a scenario so you will understand how this bidirectional communication can help. Suppose you have a unidirectional communication, maybe V5X generation or the V4 plus generation. So you set the temperature 26 degree in the wired controller. So wired controller, and you send it. Okay, so the wired controller will display 26 degree and unit will display 26 degree. Now I will use a central controller or maybe a remote controller to change the temperature to 21 degree. So this signal is sent directly to the indoor unit. So now the indoor unit will display 21 degree, but our communication is one-way communication. So the wired controller is still showing 26 degree temperature. Because it had sent 26 degree, there is no bidirectional communication. He does not know that the temperature of the indoor unit has now been updated. So this is to differentiate the unidirectional and bidirectional. This is very basic advantage that we have from this. What are the other information flowing from the indoor unit back to the controller? So we can get parameter values for the indoor unit at the controller level. What kind of parameters? Sensor values. What are the sensor values of the indoor unit? So for the indoor unit, maybe you know that we have three sensors like T2, T2B and T2A sensor. What are the values of these sensors? EXV opening degree, right? Cold draft prevention, these kind of settings you can check directly from the wired controller now. Not only that, even you can check the detailed parameters of the outdoor unit from the wired controller. What kind of parameters? Compressor frequency, okay, that sensor values for the outdoor unit end, the valve, is it open or is it closed, right? So these kind of parameters you can also check from the wired controller. I will show you a video next and you will see what are these parameters, and those parameters can be checked from the wired controllers, from the central controllers, from the IMM Pro, from the diagnosis software. All the controllers can check those parameters. Okay, so let us first discuss this one, 86E by KD. So I give you a general idea. What is the basic idea behind developing this controller? So we want it, if you want to use with single indoor unit, then you should go for 86E by KD. It have all the basic features. What kind of basic features? Like you can set the mode, fan speed and this kind of things, basic things. Also you can lock some parameters, and you can check the IDU and ODU detailed parameters. I will show you now, and this one also have a remote controller receiver, and you can also set the address of the indoor unit. Also, we have a new function called after hours function, and this after hours function is available in both the wired controllers. I try to explain this after hours function to you. Maybe if I have a video, then maybe it is more clear. Let me show you some videos for this. Okay, so we are discussing 86E by KD. So maybe I can show you what kind of parameters we can check from 86E by KD. These parameters are same for 86E by KD, 120G and the another two central controllers. So let us see just one videos and others will be the same. So here how to check our indoor unit, one indoor unit is connected to this 86E by KD and this one connects to the X1 X2 port. So you need to press the fan speed and confirm button together for 5 seconds and then you will enter the parameter query page. Okay, so here we press and then inside the parameter query page, this NXX means the indoor unit. This will be the address of the indoor unit. This indoor unit connected address is 15. So here it will show the address 15 outdoor unit. Oh, sorry, address 15. It means the only indoor unit that it has connected, right? So here it is N15 and click confirm and then you will see a parameter list. So this is the name of the parameter. Maybe a little back. Right, so this is the parameter code and this is the value of the parameter. So let us see from the list what kind of parameters we have. These are all the parameters that you can check. IDU communication address, capacity of IDU, network address, the sensor values, and the room temperature value, set temperature, and you can also check the EXV position and error code, the last error codes that have happened, right? And the target superheat, this is a reserved function not available now. Let us see from the video how to see these parameters. You keep pressing and this is the value. The central one is the value and this is the name of the parameter. Okay, so this is for the indoor unit part and similarly for the outdoor unit. So how to exit is very simple. Just press the back button. Right here is you just press the back button and you can exit. Right. Next is for the outdoor unit. Again the same way you need to enter. Press the fan speed and uh, confirm button and then press this up down buttons to change the audio values. And here is the parameter value and the name of the parameter and the value of the parameter. So let us go back, go to here, how to do this. Again, we press these two keys together to enter the parameter query page. And then 000, only one outdoor unit is connected with this. So 00 is the address. You click confirm. And these are all the parameters that you can check for the audio. Like the compressor current, you can check the heat sink temperature, discharge temperature, all the very detailed parameters you can check from this. So this list will be the same. I show you the list again. So we will not see these kind of videos for other controllers. So audio address and the temperature and the discharge temperature and operating mode, number of outdoor and indoor units connected, and heat sink temperature, very detailed parameters you can check from these wired controllers. Right? The same, you press the back key again. So this is the 86E by KD wired controller. Next we go to the 120G by WKA, the central controller. So if anyone have any question about this controller, you can ask now. Let me see if there are any question in the chat box. Okay, so there are no questions. So I move forward to the 120G. Okay, so for the 120G controller, it is basically a central, how to say, it is basically a group controller. So what is a group controller? All the units will work together in the same fashion. If 6 units are connected in a group, if I set 25°, all 6 are 25° at the same time. What features does it have? All new V6 indoor unit features. It can set a schedule, right? And group control for up to 16. We already discussed 2 controllers with 1 IDU. Off timer functions or after hour function is the same. And what is this function? Maybe I can show you from the video again. So it have many languages: English, French, Polish, and Spanish. That one does have only have English. And again, the IDU parameter setting, and you can set the address. This is wrong, not the parameter setting. It is actually parameter checking, and you can also set the address of the IDU from this. And you can also check the detailed error code information for this IDU from this wired controller. And it also have remote controller receiver and the keyboard lock. And you can also turn off the buzzer sound. So I show you the after hours function, maybe. Or maybe I can explain what is the after hours function. So after hours function is a setting inside the wired controller. So inside the wired controller, maybe suppose that you set the after hours value to 4 hours. So what will happen from this? The next time you start this indoor unit using this wired controller, after 4 hours, the indoor unit will automatically shut off. This is the after hours function. So usually in a big office, maybe you have a central controller for a schedule that automatically units turn on and automatically units turn off. But you have also installed the wired controllers. And suppose I'm working overtime today, so I use this wired controller to start the air conditioner. So I have set after hours already. So after 4 hours, the indoor unit will automatically shut down. So this is the after hours or off timer function. So this was it for the introduction for the wired controllers. If anyone has any question, you can ask me now. Otherwise, I will move forward to the central controllers, the 6.2-inch touchscreen and 10.1-inch touchscreen now.
Yes, hello, I have a question.
Yes.
Is it possible to connect in group control the high wall V6 AC indoor unit with this control?
V6? Yes, of course.
V6 AC indoor unit.
Yes. It have X1, X2, right? You need to see whether it have X1, X2 or not. Oh, sorry, X1, X2 and
No,
D1, D2 or not. I think for the second AC indoor unit, D1, D2 is a customizable function. So with the standard indoor units, the D1, D2 is not coming. So you need to customize the indoor unit in advance.
but
It's
is
very
it
simple.
possible to customize the high wall indoor unit?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So we have just deleted this port, but if you customize, then you will get this port. D1, D2 is required for group control. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Can WDC86 E by K connect to V4 plus IDUs? E by K can connect, but yes, it can connect any controller. I tell you honestly, any controller can connect to any system. Technically speaking, it can connect. But why we say that don't use with the old or don't use with the new? Because we have not tested all the functions. And the testing is not a good solution for this, because the new features, even if you connect and you set the 0.5 degree temperature like 21.5 degree, the old indoor units cannot take this command. What is the use? Right? So it's better to use the controller that is suggested for that particular series. Okay, so let us move to the next part, that is for the central controllers, 6.2-inch touchscreen controller. So for the 6.2-inch touchscreen controller, it have one XY port, and this XY port can connect 8 systems and 64 indoor units. This is the display. In the beginning of my presentation, I said the visual management and everything. So this is the visual management. Here I see this pie chart. I can see 13 indoor units are having an error, 7 indoor units are running, 0 are stopped. What is my schedule for today? 15:10, the schedule named air conditioner will be implemented. So what is this schedule? I can check from the detailed schedule setting, but on the home page itself, I get a lot of information. So for all the controllers now, we have these following languages: English, Chinese, French, Spanish, Portuguese. I think it is total 11 or 12 languages. For the 6.2, for the 10.1, for the IMM Pro, all have these 12 languages. And for the 120G, we have 4 languages that I explained before. Again here, visual management, you can see that what is the mode, like this is not working. Auto mode, cooling mode, fan mode, dry mode, different colors. Heating mode, different color. If you are using second generation is indoor units with the V6, then you can see the indoor unit model directly here. This is duct, or this is duct. This is the console or the high wall or the 4-way cassette. You can see directly. So this is visual management. This is the set temperature. This is the room temperature, right? And if there is any error code, then this will highlight. If there is any schedule, this will highlight. If you have logged some setting, it will highlight. And this is for the swing, auto swing or something, right? So I have a lot of screenshots, I think, for this one. So we will learn from the screenshot what are the functions there are. So the basic control we already discussed, that it can set the mode, temperature, etc. Apart from that, advanced control. What are advanced control? You can set the cooling, set temperature limit. Cooling temperature limit means uh, minimum cooling temperature. Usually the range is 17 to 30, but you can lock the range to 20 to 30. So cooling point cannot go below 20. So it can help you save the energy. Similarly, in the heating mode, you can set the upper limit for the heating mode. Basic is 17 to 30, but you lock it to 25. So customer cannot take it above 25. He will save some energy. And you can lock the wireless controller from this. You cannot lock the wired controller from this. Group management, 64 indoor units. You can divide them into different groups for easily controlling them. Schedule function, you can set a schedule, weekly schedule, up to 20 commands can be put inside this controller. Holiday mode, I explained in the beginning that you can set a holiday by day, by date. And daily saving time. So this training is for Latin America. So I don't think the daily saving time is useful in Latin America or not. In some countries, every 6 months they have to adjust their clocks. So this setting is for that one, daylight saving time. I think in Latin America, I'm not sure it's useful or not. In Europe, it is useful. So in the beginning, I also said that we can control some of the outdoor unit setting from these new generation controllers. What kind of outdoor unit setting? The operation capacity. So yesterday in Constant's presentation, you see that 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100% of the outdoor unit capacity you can control. From the outdoor unit side, you can also control from the from the controller side. Night silent mode for the outdoor unit, you can set from the controller. Mode priority for the outdoor unit you can set from the controller. And energy saving settings. So this is a meta technology that maybe Constance discussed yesterday, the media evaporating temperature alteration. So that one you can turn on or turn off from here. So these are the settings for the outdoor unit, but you can do it from the central controller itself. And similarly, the indoor and outdoor unit parameter inquiry that we discussed for the wired controller, you can also check from the central controller as well. And error records, fault report, very simple setting. So good part is that these both the controllers are Android powered controllers, and if there is any update for these controllers, we can send you the update software and you can put it in a USB and connect it to the USB drive port, and then you can update your controller. Okay. This is the CCM 180A by BWSA. I hope all of you have seen this controller. If you have any question for this controller, you can let me know. If no question, then we move on to the next controller. I think we are a little behind our schedule. We can do it quickly. I have the videos for all these controllers, and the videos are also available on the YouTube. So if you want to see any controller, you can tell me. I will show the video for that controller. Otherwise, we can discuss from the PPT itself. The next one is the 10.1 inch touchscreen controller CCM270B by WSA. Okay, please ask your question. Mr. Is it any video to upgrade software to controller 180 cause I have to upgrade software to? Yes, of course. Yes, we have the video. You should ask your technical support engineer, or if you have TSP, he can also share you from the TSP. We have the video. When you talked about the symbols for different units, would there be a symbol for HRV? Yes, yes. The updated one is compatible with the HRV. Okay. So let us move to the next part, that is the 10.1 inch touchscreen controller. It has 6x5 port. Each port can connect 8 systems, 64 indoor units. So totally 48 systems and 384 indoor units. Okay. And apart from the capacity, I tell you what are the main improvements, schedule and holiday and everything it can also do. What it can do next is floor plan. You can insert a map inside the controller. I show you directly. These are some basic settings, so I'm not repeating. You can set a group, or you can set the symbol again are the similar, and you can set the cooling set limit and the heating set limit and the mode limit, and you can set the fan speed limit, and you can lock the wired controller, lock the wireless controller. These kind of things it can do. Here is the floor plan function. You can insert a map inside this, and then you can move the controller, move the indoor unit over it. So for easy management, right, this setting. Apart from that, this is the basic schedule function, and we also have an email function here. So what is this email function? Don't get too excited with this function. It is not sending automatic emails. It is a manual function. So you have some reports inside the controller, like the how to say, this controller can also do the energy management. Suppose as I explained for the IMM Pro, that different outdoor unit and indoor unit are consuming the electricity, and we need to divide the outdoor unit electricity into the amount of the based on the amount of refrigeration used by the indoor units. So that one can also be done by the 10.1 inch controller, and you can export that files to your email, or you can export that file through a USB. Right, so IMM Pro can also do 10.1 inch touchscreen can also do it. So if for some project the number of units is not very high and you don't want to buy a computer, then 10.1 inch can also do the energy management, and it is a cheaper solution. But it has a limited memory, so you need to go every 5-6 months and take out the data, otherwise it will start deleting the previous data. If you have a software or IMM Pro, then all the data is inside the computer, so there is no chance of losing any data. I hope this is clear to everyone, what I tried to explain just now. This one IMMP back A is actually a gateway for IMM Pro. I think in the next presentation it will be more better to explain this gateway. What is the function of this gateway? I will discuss more in the next presentation for this gateway. It is a gateway for IMM Pro. Next is the CCM15. For energy management, is it necessary to connect CCM272? No, it is not necessary. Just now I explained this. CCM270 can also do energy management by itself. The only drawback of using CCM270 alone is that it has a limited memory. So if your system is too big, then after every 7 months, you must go to the CCM270 to take out your data. Otherwise, it will delete the previous data. So for some projects, it can be trouble, I think. But if you have IMM Pro, you have connected the LAN cable, computer have so much memory, there is no chance of losing any data there. Okay. Another drawback is it have only 384 units. So if your project side is very big, 1000 units, so you will need 4 and you need to combine again and again them. But with IMM Pro, one computer, all the data is there. Okay, so the next controller is CCM15. I try to explain in the introduction part about this controller as well. So this is the only internet solution that we have, right? Internet solution, you have a mobile phone, the command goes to the cloud, and from the cloud, the command goes back to the indoor unit, and the command is executed, right? So for this kind of solution, we only have CCM15. It can also set some simple schedule. And this is I don't know why, but I think the sale of this controller should be much higher than a lot of other controllers. But sometimes I feel that the sales are few for this controller, probably because uh, maybe customer don't focus on this much, because I think this is a very good controller, very compact controller. You just install an app in your mobile phone, and if you have installed VRF in a villa or maybe in some hotel as well, then you can manage from your mobile phone. You can see the status. You can turn off the units from your mobile phone. So it is a very useful controller for this kind of scenario. And as I mentioned, each can connect up to 8 systems or 64 indoor units. Each of the gateway can connect, and 10 such gateways can be connected with one mobile phone application. So 640 indoor units can be effectively controlled from one mobile application. Next part is for the diagnosis software. So for the diagnosis software, you can check very detailed parameters about the indoor unit and the outdoor unit from the diagnosis software. What kind of parameters you can check? I think we have time. I can show you some videos for this diagnosis software. It will be more easier for you to understand the diagnosis software from the videos. Okay, so I show you 3 of the major functions of this. So very quickly we see it so you can understand. So suppose you have connected this diagnosis software through the XYE port, and then you have to connect it to your computer and then open the diagnosis software, and here you need to select the V6 or whatever is the outdoor unit type, and then you need to click monitor. Auto this one stay, and you will stay monitor. It can monitor only one system at a time. And once you enter the monitor page, so here we are looking at the refrigerant system diagram function. So this is the second function of the diagnosis software. What things we can check? Let me show you. So here you can see the detailed diagram for the outdoor unit, and this function is basically for the more concentrated about the indoor unit. So these are static diagrams, And for the indoor unit, you can check very detailed parameters like mid coil temperature or the end coil temperature or the IDU address. And this is the error code. Above is the error code. And suppose in one system there are like this is T2B end coil temperature and EXV opening degree. So how to say, in the one system maybe there are maybe up to 64 indoor units, so we can see 4 at a time, and you can toggle here auto switch to change the indoor units. We will also show here this is the first set of the indoor units and secondly the second set of the indoor units, and we can see the parameters for the indoor unit as well. Again, I show you what kind of parameters we can check. I think from the video it is very clear. Right, so like the EXV opening degree and the room temperature and the mid coil temperature and IDU address and the end coil temperature. This is the I00 means error code, I means indoor unit, and this is the end coil temperature. 00 means no error code. Right, so this is for the IDU side, and similarly for the ODU side, I can show you. This one we called refrigerant system detail. So this function will show more detailed parameters about the ODU side. So I directly go to the function, entering the diagnosis software is the same. So here is the ODU. So here you can see very detailed parameters about the ODU parts. The number of the, how to say, the frequency of the compressor and the fan speed of the ODU fans, the switch valves open or close, and the condenser temperature, ambient temperature, sensor values, right? So the four-way valve status on or off, the high pressure sensor value, and the discharge temperature, compressor 1, compressor 2, inverter compressor frequency, current, compressor current, okay, and then this SV8A, the compressor vapor injection valve, and crankcase heater is turned on or turned off, and similarly for the second compressor, and these all the valves value, that this plate type heat exchanger and this all return valve, right? So what are the status of different valves we can check from here. This is the refrigerant bypass valve and like the EXP of the ODU, and this is the plate heat exchanger opening degree, sorry, the sensor values. So in this way we can check very detailed parameters for the outdoor unit as well. Okay, so I show you another function and then maybe we can finish discussion about the diagnosis software. Next is a data graph function. This is again an interesting function. So in this function, you can create a graph between different values. So if you are analyzing a function, so like if I want to analyze the T1 temperature or the sensor values, so I can select here like which one I want. So I want to know the T2B sensor. What are the values of this sensor at different times? So there is a question. V6 V6 it is available, and VC Pro also available. I'm not sure you are using VC Pro or not. So V6 is available and V5X is also available. V6R is also available. V6R is also available. We just finished recently. Okay, so first here we select some axes, and once you select the axes and select the time zones, and then you can see the graphs for the various parameters. So I directly keep the video a little forward to show what kind of graphs we can get. So here are the different values of the parameters, and you can see the graphs like this to analyze the system. Okay. So this is the functions of the diagnosis software. Let me get back to the presentation and finish this one, and then we will move on to the IMF Pro. So this is the diagnosis software compatible with V6, V6R and VC Pro and V5X as well. So if you want, these videos are also available on our YouTube channel. You can check V6, V6R, and in the case of indoor unit second generation, only AC and DC. This one connects to the outdoor unit side. So it depends basically on the outdoor unit model. Okay. So these are the functions. I already show you these functions through the software itself, and this is the conversion board if you want to connect with the older generation of the outdoor units. Because in the beginning of the presentation I show you that now the outdoor units only have XYE port. Before we used to have XYE and K1 K2E. So V5X have XYE K1 K2E. So we need a conversion board to connect these two protocol XYE K1 K2E, connect together into one XYE, and then we can use this diagnosis software because it works on the new protocol. So this kit you can purchase. And for the IMM Pro, we will discuss more in the next presentation. Okay, so the next part is for the BMS gateways, and some accessories are left. So for the BMS gateway, there is not much to talk about. I think all of you know that BMS stands for Building Management System, and this kind of system can control a lot of things together like elevator, fire alarm, security, power, air conditioner, lights. So our target is VRF air conditioner should integrate with the existing BMS system. So how we can do it? We have basic 4 languages for the BMS, that is BACnet, Loanworks, Modbus, and KNX. We have the gateways available for all these 4 languages. Different capacities. It have 4 ports. Each port 8 system, 64 indoor units, 8 system, 32 indoor units, 8 system, 64 indoor units, and this one connects with each IDU D1, D2 port. And 2-in-1 will explain more in the next presentation. So these 3 connect to the outdoor unit side on the XY side. So one thing is very interesting. You will see that a lot of controllers now, because indoor unit does not have XYE. So a lot of controllers, the central controller connects to the XYE, the BMS gateway connects to the XYE, CCM15 connects to the XYE, but outdoor unit only have one XYE. So if I want to connect CCM15 as well as BMS, how will I do? So we have a solution for that also. We will show you in the next slides. So for now, outdoor unit side, it will connect these 3, and indoor unit side will connect the KNX gateway. Next, we move on to the accessories. So for the accessories, this is the hotel keycard weak MAHKCW. So this one is the power supply 5 volt, and the MAHKC S strong. The power supply is 220 volt. Nothing much to talk here. Very simple controller. MAIS infrared sensor. So this infrared sensor, it can control in an angle of 100 degree, 4 meter vertical, and 4 meter horizontal and 3 meter vertical. This angle it can see if there is no movement in this part for the how to say the time period you can select, and then after that particular time period the indoor unit will shut off. This is the infrared sensor. TTS 343, this is the energy meter. Now we have, if you are using the IMM Pro or if you are using the 10.1 for the energy management, how will you do the energy management? You need how much power is consumed by the outdoor unit. How to get this value? We must connect the energy meter, MIDIA energy meter on the outdoor unit side. How to connect this energy meter? Very simple. The three power lines are going inside the energy meter. And how to say the power lines that are going to the outdoor unit passes through the energy meter. So the power going into to the outdoor unit is recorded inside, and then it is connected to the OAP port on the ODU main PC on the ODU connection PCB, and then from there this value is sent to the IMM Pro or the central controller, and it can do the division of the energy. Okay, so just now I mentioned that we have so many controllers from XYE, how to connect all of them together. So here we have this XYE extension kit. It is just like a multi-plug that we use for electricity in our homes sometimes. So you connect XY extension kit to the main XY of the outdoor unit, and it needs a 12-volt power supply. This XY extension kit, the physical structure is same as the Modbus gateway, GW mode A, which I show you here. This one, the Modbus gateway and the XY extension kit, totally the same, Only the PCB is different inside, right? So it also need a 12-volt DC power supply, and you can connect two controllers like this. Okay, so the last controller is IDU online kit. I try to explain the use of this controller. I hope that you will be able to get it. So for the VRF indoor unit, we suggest you that you should have uniform power supply. Why? Because uh, the outdoor unit is detecting how many indoor units is connected to it. If the number of indoor units suddenly decreases, then the audio will have an error code H7 and the system will stop. So uh, if it is a real situation, if all the power supply is the same, so if one indoor unit is damaged, then only this can happen, and then H7 is justified, right? Because what if the indoor unit really have some problem, so its fan is not working, refrigerant is flowing inside, liquid refrigerant can go back to the compressor in this case, so we need to stop the system. But if you have different power sources, so because of this different power sources, then you will have frequent H7, because maybe one power source can go down at one time, other power source can go down at other time. So to manage this problem, we developed a new device called IDU online kit. So this IDU online kit uh, keeps the system online even though one of the power of this kind of system, non-uniform power source, one of the power has gone. How does it happen? Like it have a 12-volt power supply, sorry, the 24-volt AC power supply, and this one connects to the main PCB of the indoor unit, and this is the 220-volt AC power supply going into the indoor unit. So here it detects that whether the 220-volt is going or not going. So if it detects that it has turned off, then it will use this 24-volt AC power supply to supply the indoor unit some power to turn off its to send a turn off command and close its EXV, so that in now situation the IDU is effectively turned off from the remote controller and there is no need to have an H7 error code. So for this function, we have developed this IDU online kit. But again, there is no need for you to buy this IDU online kit. The best thing is have the same power source for all the indoor unit and you don't need to use this IDU online kit. So this one is actually just for your reading. I will share this presentation with you later, how to select the controllers. Very basic things, like if you will read it, you will understand. There is no point I read it again and again. So we will go to the last part, that is to select, how to select controller. Some suggestions for you. So if you have a small project such as house, what kind of controllers are required? Wireless controller, wired controller, CCM15, KNX gateway. Commercial project means big project, central controllers, BMS gateways, right? Large project, really large project, BMS gateways, IMM Pro, right? These are the products. So we will take some project cases and I will try to solve these cases and I hope you can follow me as well. First project, audio quantity 2, IDU quantity 12, system quantity 1, requirement 6 of 12 IDUs will serve one public area. So when I hear this 6 of 12 IDUs will serve one public area, it is a group. Only 6, 120G can connect up to 16. So 6 of this can be connected with the 120G and the remaining 12, it is a office. So maybe if we need a central controller, we can use the 6.2 inch touchscreen central controller or the CCM 180A by BWSA. So it can connect up to 64 and here is only, how to say, only 12. So if they need a central controller, then they can buy CCM 180. If they don't need a central controller, then 120G, and for the others you buy RM12F or RM05BA is enough. right? So in this solution, we didn't write the central controller, but if they need central controller, then we can go for that. Next project, hotel, ODU quantity 4, IDU quantity 24, system quantity 1. So if I read the hotel, it means hotel key card. So we have two options, HKCW and HKCS. Any one of these can be used here. And again, it's a hotel 24 indoor units. We need a central controller. We can go for CCM 180 A by BWS A here. Next is for big project, commercial building, ODU quantity 70, IDU quantity 672, system quantity 56, requirement Modbus electricity distribution. So I think this project we will better understand after we finish the IMM Pro presentation. So I will not discuss these two projects. These are basically for the electricity consumption. We will discuss after our next presentation. So this is it for my first presentation for the VRF controllers. If anyone has any question, you can write in the chat box.